get onto the YouTube. Japanese Grand Prix. Are we live now? No, that's Japanese. We're not doing Japanese. We're doing Chinese.
Yeah, Chinese, yeah.
I looked at my picture. I was like, I'm not even in that building. Although I'm wearing the same top. No, I'm
We
not.
should now be live. Let's have a look. We appear to have a live stream up. There we go.
China review. There we go.
China.
What is
China
interesting?
race.
What is interesting? Laura keeps saying she keeps commenting on this live stream. And it never comes up. I never see Laura.
She commented last week.
Oh, did she?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Sorry.
Yeah,
Laura.
I'm sure she did something last week.
Yeah.
Sure she did.
She's
Yeah, right at the start. It was on Rainbow King.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I didn't notice.
Definitely was on there last week. Don't worry, Laura. I'm listening to you.
I'm not, seemingly.
It's just your husband who's not listening to you. It's fine.
That's all right then. There you go. She's actually at work now, so she might pick it up later and she won't watch it live, so it's fine.
Yeah, no. Oh, hello, Carl.
Hello.
There we go.
Hello from the US of A.
Oh, international.
Welcome to the US of A.
Right. Okay.
That was my come from away attempt.
Okay. I'll take your word for it.
Have you ever seen Come From Away?
Yes, like 4 times.
So you know that bit where
yes, I know exactly what bit you were doing. It didn't sound like.
All right.
Right. Cool. Okay. Here we go. Remember,
Max Verstappen has taken the checkered flag to win.
Down there.
That was absolutely brilliant. No, Sergio Perez is giving it everything. Oh no, Mike, that was so not right. Goes Leclerc, through goes Hamilton. Unbelievable stuff. And into each other goes Valtteri Bottas and Sergio Perez.
Bottas took out both their competitors.
And at the back, that's George Russell out of this race. Daniel Ricciardo makes contact there with Kevin Magnussen, and there's a second contact.
Just one day, I'd like to hold up a beer coaster that isn't Verstappen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you saying we're in?
Who out of these beer coasters might actually win a race? We've got Verstappen and Perez, so only Verstappen.
Yeah, well, only ever going to use one side, aren't you?
Yeah. I've got Leclerc and Sainz. Well, Sainz has won a couple of races.
Sainz has a chance. Leclerc doesn't.
Yeah. Hamilton and Russell, no chance this year.
No chance. Full stop.
Magnussen and Schumacher with a cross for his name.
You could have written Hulk there, and that'd be a cross. But we're talking.
And then we've got Alonso and Ocon. That's old.
That's really old. Alonso might have some luck.
And then we've got Lando and Ricciardo. Yeah. Okay. Fine. That's all the ones I've got left because all the others are out of date.
Yeah, out of date outdated, and they're even going to be even more out of date now.
Yep, yeah, definitely with the breaking news, which I'm sure we will cover. Actually,
breaking news.
Why not?
Which is a day old. It's a day old breaking news. But yeah, we'll go with that. Are we going to start with that? Okay. Hello and welcome from the USA, by the way.
Yeah, international podcast.
No, we're always international. I live in Ireland, Tom.
Yeah, I know, but that's a stone throw.
Yeah, this is
a bloody long stone, I admit, or a very long throw anyway.
Yeah.
But when I did Grid Talk a couple of weeks back, the podcast it was myself in the UK, and then there was Jawad in Australia, there was Dev in India, there was somebody, maybe someone in Wales, I want to say.
That'd be Tom then.
Wasn't Tom.
Downey. All right.
Wasn't Tom.
Wales?
There was somebody in another country, and then also there was Jared in like Bali. Yeah. So we had 5 different nationalities.
Wow.
Was it America? Might be America. Yeah, but basically we had 5 different nationalities working on one podcast, five different time zones.
Wow.
Working on one podcast.
I mean, just trying to work out my time zone to yours wrecks my head.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah, I'm in Georgia at the moment, doing
the American state, not the country.
Yes, Georgia, USA. So yeah, doing some prep work and bits and pieces.
Yes.
So can't talk too much about it, but so I will be over here for Miami and what's it, Monaco?
Imola
and
Monaco.
Well, Monaco, I'm in a different country. I'm in Spain for.
Yes.
So I'm globetrotting at the moment, which sounds a lot more fancier than it actually is.
It was Canada. It was Canada. You're in a different country.
No, Canada. That's it. Canada. I'm in.
So
Spain
you're here for Miami, Imola, and Monaco, and then you're somewhere else for Canada, and then you're back for Spain.
Ironically. So and typically, like, I'm not a million miles from Miami, and it's too expensive to go. Like, I'm just like, oh. But yeah, it looks like I'm in some like grand lodgings, which I am. But it's quite a mad, strange thing. But I've been sat out on the veranda, on the porch, on the rocking chair most mornings, drinking my coffee, listening to, there's this bug over here that's really high pitched. Anyway, we should be talking about the the breaking news.
Breaking news!
Hulk is going to
Sauber,
Audi / whatever
Audi.
But it's an Audi deal
Alpha,
as well, so it's definitely there 2 years.
Yeah, I think so. I've not seen the bare bones of it, but it's
he tagged himself as Audi.
Yeah.
So
I think he signed a contract with Audi, but I think Audi are taking full control of the Sauber team from next year, aren't they?
Well, this is what I think he's doing both. So, and I presume they're lining him up to do. And there was questions as to why the Hulk, because Mick Schumacher is not as good as the Hulk, is my only answer to that. Seb obviously said no. So who else have you got that's German?
Yeah.
It's literally it's not racism, there's another word, isn't there?
Yeah. I know what you mean.
Zionism or something. Anyway, whatever that word is, someone can tell
nationalism.
Me. Yeah, anyway, it's pretty Jesus Christ. I just knocked my light started flashing. I just knocked a table.
Patriotism.
Yeah. So what my question is, who is leaving from Sauber? Because they haven't released who's going. So currently they've got 3 drivers.
Well, it's down to, do you want a good driver or do you want money? So I guess it's up to those two, really. One of them's going to be going.
I didn't realize Bottas had money.
Bottas is a decent driver, and he's definitely outshining Zhou this year. So I think he's probably. I don't think Audi don't need the money, but it depends if they got someone else lined up to take that second seat. Then, to be honest,
it a complete?
Next year's a bit of a throwaway year for Audi with regards to drivers. So if they've got someone else lined up for that second seat, you may as well take the money with Zhou and let Bottas go.
Yeah.
So I guess it depends.
Or are they? Their deals are up. Bottas's and Zhou's this year.
Both up.
Both up. No one's going to take a 1-year deal without knowing that they're going into Audi. Audi wouldn't really want that. I think to be honest, whoever it is, they'll want for both. They'll want for 2 years.
Yeah.
Whether you keep Bottas for 2 years or you keep Zhou for 2 years, or whether you bring in Sainz or whoever.
I don't think
it'll be free, isn't he?
He is, but I don't think
there's rumors as to him going somewhere.
I think Sainz will have better offers. I think if he's not in a Mercedes, he'll be in a Red Bull.
There's a lot of pressure on Audi at the moment to be this winning team before they've even really started. But I don't know where that pressure's come from.
Just because Audi always win at everything they do, but they're not going to win at this, not straight away.
Yeah. So Hulk is a safe bet for a German driver.
Yep.
He
still won't get his podium.
No, he won't get his podium, but Hulk has done a reasonable job this year.
Yeah, very good job.
And actually, and last year,
I think last year he signed that contract with Haas far too early. I don't think he was. I don't think he had backed himself to get a better drive, and I think he signed that contract with Haas very early, and then regretted.
But he's been out of
it
it for a couple of years, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think he regretted it instantly because there was a lot of interest in him later on in the season, and if he'd have just backed himself and been like, "No, I'm just going to hold fire on this for now. I think I've got Magnussen, so I'm just going to hold fire for now, see if a better offer comes along." And unfortunately, he was tied to the team when there were options there. He could have ended up moving to a team when the whole kind of Ricardo thing happened, when with Red Bull and him breaking his wrist and everything. There's lots of stuff that could have happened, and in the end, he missed out. He could have been driving for one of the better teams this year, definitely. But he missed out because he signed in for Haas. But I think he's. I'd never thought he'd be staying at Haas beyond this year anyway.
Well, I hope they sort out their bloody pit stops and then they're real nuts.
Yeah, that's just one issue that they can't fix straight away. So
well, to be honest, it's not. It wasn't the only issue with wheel nuts this race.
No, that is true.
So yeah, freewheeling, literally.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Yeah, because I've been.
Where should we start?
Because I've been in America and I was in the air when the race happened, and Tom has been busy with life and things. I'm sorry, but we haven't done what I think happened, because I can't even tell you really what happened. It feels like such a long time ago since that race. I mean, I can't even tell you
before we went live, I literally had to remind myself of what was happening.
Yeah, and it's now Friday. Luckily there's not a race this week, so it's not too much of an issue.
We've got Jared in the chat. I just noticed.
Yes, hello, Jared.
Should we start a Kickstarter for Sainz? We could put together something better than a year at Alfa Romeo. I mean, I generally think he'll be in a very good seat. I think he'll be in either the Red Bull or the Mercedes next year.
Okay, well, who do you think should go in the Alfa Romeo, Jared? You might as well answer that one.
There'll be a delay, so pop in there who you think should have the seat. I'm going to say I reckon they hedge their bets and say we're Audi. We're going to be able to get someone better than Bottas. So go with Zhou for the last year of the deal.
Zhou's not going to take a 1-year deal. No, he's not going to take one.
He's not going to have a choice. The choice will be stay in Formula One or take a 1-year deal, or drop out of Formula One unless someone else wants to take the money. And I don't think anyone will, because I don't think he's shown enough.
Sorry, there is a massive gap in Haas.
I mean, there is a big gap in Haas, to be fair.
Now there's a gap in Haas. That is
I don't know if they would take way, because Behrman's going to be one of those drivers.
What for Haas?
So I guess I don't think they would take Behrman and Zhou, and I don't think they would take Zhou over Behrman.
So you're saying Magnussen stays?
I think it'll be Magnussen and Behrman next year, unless they can sign a Bottas.
But then who's got the more money?
If Bottas is available, I reckon they try and sign him. However, Zhou would be the sensible choice, because Ayu Komatsu is not doing what Gunther Steiner wanted to do, which was invest in the team. Ayu Komatsu will say, if we bring Zhou in along with Behrman, we're going to have a very strong driver and a cheap driver.
Yeah. I don't know.
Potentially,
is Bottas. I mean, Bottas is. We said this from quite a long time ago. Bottas is retire planning. You can see that already.
He's trying to future-proof his career. He's trying to set himself up so he's got options after Formula One. So
he's he's going a bit of a media drive. So I can sort of see that.
Jared said leave Zhou there or bring in a rookie from F2 to bed them in. Well, Teo Porcher has now signed. He's now looking at IndyCar, isn't he? He raced in IndyCar at the weekend for McLaren.
Jared just said Teo Porcher there. So he actually got you before you got him.
That's literally just popped up on my screen.
That popped up, and he would have written that before you said it. So you're in.
Yeah, he would have done.
Yeah.
Well, so Porcher's now looking at IndyCar. He raced for McLaren at the weekend in IndyCar. I haven't seen it yet, but to be honest, I haven't actually seen hardly any.
Who did he race for?
McLaren, I think.
Okay. I'm
pretty sure it's McLaren.
Well, there's no seat at McLaren for a long time.
No, I've lost track of IndyCar this year. To be honest, it's that and Formula E have completely dropped off my radar.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on anymore in either of those.
There was some point where De Vries wasn't racing for some reason. I was like, because he was in WEC.
Oh, okay.
And so they had to bring in. They brought in a Brit. I can't remember. That's all I know, and I can't even tell you who that Brit was. It might have been King. Why do I think that?
Jordan King.
Yeah, maybe because I just went, oh, that's my name. So
I don't have that problem. I very rarely have a Horrocks dropping into a.
Although here I'm working with over here, it's called Horrocks.
Oh, close.
Yeah. So
that'll do.
For a long time, I thought he was Horrocks, and I was like, "Oh, that's really cool." And then I realized he's Horrocks. But yeah.
Formula One. Should we talk about Formula One?
Sorry.
The other thing as well is Autosport and Malta on Sport and BBC are all reporting that Adrian Newey is leaving Red Bull, which
for retirement.
It just says leaving Red Bull. So potentially another team. I've got this lovely theory in that McLaren have sacked off Sanchez, knowing that they could get Newey, and now they've got Newey coming in. That'd be amazing.
Back where he started.
Yeah, I just got this horrible
Not
feeling.
Started, but
I just got a horrible feeling he's going to end up at Aston Martin.
What is he? 60 something?
65.
Is he only 65? I thought he was older.
No, 65.
Like he's legally retirement age.
Yeah, the talk is that he's going to Ferrari, but who knows?
I wouldn't like to see his insurance. Do you know what I mean? Like the insurance of him, employing someone over retirement age and of such high profile as him as well, and high bucks as him.
Well, they kept Frank Williams in a job for a long time, didn't they?
I mean, is he? Yeah, but he was the boss. Do you know what I mean? So, well, they kept him sort of in the job, but Claire took over. And Newey doesn't have a protege of sort of Claire Standard. I don't. You think he's going to McLaren?
No, I would just love for him to be going to McLaren. I think it's either going to be Aston Martin or Ferrari. I just got a horrible feeling it's Aston Martin.
He's got history with Ferrari. With Hamilton. Not that possibly.
In what way he's got
difference.
history?
Wasn't he at McLaren with Hamilton?
No.
Oh, it was that pre him.
Yeah.
Okay. So he hasn't worked with Hamilton, so Hamilton wouldn't be a draw over that way then. Sorry, I thought
no, but it may well be that he wants to work with Hamilton, and this would be his only chance to work with him realistically, because he's never going to sign for Red Bull. He might just want to work with Hamilton. I suppose it's possible. I know he's been courted by Ferrari lots of times. They will throw everything at him, but I think Lawrence Stroll has got about as much money as Ferrari has. So if it's money, if it's a final payday, it could be either one of them.
Is this now the downfall of Red Bull? Interestingly, is he having to take garden leave first up? And him leaving Red Bull, when does that actually finish? At the end of the season?
The rumor is his contract is until the end of 2026, but he can engineer an exit if Helmut Marko is not in position or something like that. But apparently there's a way that he can engineer an exit at the end of this season if he wants to. And it's apparently they're reporting it's because of all of the stuff that's been happening with Christian Horner.
Okay.
Maybe Christian Horner sent him a dick pic, allegedly.
Allegedly. As long as we got that in. There is obviously some stress there that he doesn't want to be involved in, which is fair enough. I think this is the downfall of Red Bull, and if Newey's leaving, how long till Max says goodbye? How long? Is this a Max exodus out of? And who the hell do they have replaced? I know Newey isn't the be all and end all of that car, and they have a very strong team at. They're not Brackley, where are they? They're in Milton Keynes, sorry.
Yeah.
They have a very strong team in Milton Keynes. But I don't know as to whether him leaving is just going to send shocks through the system. If he's leaving, how many of his team is he taking with him? And if he is staying to 2026, which will be a very bad idea because he'll be designing a car for a season, or 2025, end of 2025, he'll be designing a car for 2026, which isn't the right car.
And I think as well, if he's got inside information on where the Red Bull power unit is, if he knows he's going to be working with a car that's going to have a power deficiency, he might not want to be part of that.
No,
because he's done that. He's done that with the whole Red Bull Renault thing. He had the best chassis on the grid with an underpowered engine for years. So I think he will want to potentially jump ship
this year and exit this year. And so Red Bull in 2026 is a sinking ship. So Max is gone for 2026.
Well, he's contracted till 2028.
Who cares? Who cares, Tom?
It just means that somebody's going to get a lot of money. Someone's going to get paid a lot of money.
You're right, Red Bull are going to get paid a lot of money.
But it depends if this whole thing with Helmut Marko is true, where if Helmut Marko is ousted, then Verstappen can leave. Then
Helmut Marko is not being ousted. That's not.
If Christian Horner's got anything to do with it, he will.
Yes, Christian Horner has, but he's just lost an ally in Newey, and possibly has lost him for quite a while. He's the Dimitris or whatever they're called, the Dietrichs, Mateschitz, is it that right?
Dietrich Mateschitz.
Yeah, the Mateschitz family are very still much in power there. It would be a big thing to try and buy out, and especially when Horner's name is slightly muddy at the moment anyway. I don't think I think it's either going to be Horner out and Verstappen stays and tries to deal with whatever team management is there, or it's a mass exodus and Horner and Max leave, and Red Bull has sat looking like a Price Goodsbury with no one in apart from Helmut Marko.
Who, let's be honest, is no spring chicken.
No. And I don't know how strong that team is. I think the end is in sight for Red Bull, because you've got a dodgy management team. You are losing your chief engineer who, okay, he doesn't draw the whole car and design the whole car. And I know there's an amazing team behind him, but how much of that team is going to move under the tuition of Newey? Or how many people are going to leave and go, I'm not sure. I don't know who else you bring in at this level of Newey. I don't know who's available. Is that the guy that left McLaren? Are they doing pretty much? Is he available?
There's no gardening leave. The terms were he can just leave.
Yeah,
which is very weird.
So it was a mutual decision, wasn't it? Supposedly, it didn't.
Yeah, the lines and the goals and stuff didn't align or something. I don't know. It's very weird. It was a very Ron Dennis statement, and Ron Dennis hasn't been there for a long time.
So, he's available. Maybe he goes to Red Bull or whoever Newey ends up kicking out at Ferrari or McLaren. Well, he's not. Or if it's McLaren, it's already happened. Whoever's or Aston Martin. Like I don't know who is the Newey of Aston Martin. But I would be slightly shitting a brick if I was him at the moment. It is. I can't work it out. I think it's very interesting. This is probably one of the only sports where we talk more about who's off the pitch than on the pitch half the time.
And not just for like in football, people talk about the managers and stuff, but
you don't talk about the whole.
It's all
management
lots of elements
team,
of it.
Yeah,
it shows what a team sport it is. People think it's just the drivers, but it is a massive team sport.
Yeah.
There's so much involved in it.
And even things like how many of the pit crew they go and how many. I think there's a lot of things that will move because Newey's left.
Yeah.
And it's a very whether Newey goes on gardening even he just finishes grand, but the other option is he going to Audi?
It's possible, I suppose.
If they're coming in with the big bollocks and the big pound checks.
Well, they just signed James Key, didn't they? After he was sacked by McLaren for making a shit car. So, why do they need Newey? But Key and Newey have worked together. So, but James Key is the chief designer. So I'll be surprised if they
he might be chief designer
for a year and then replaced him.
No, Newey will go in as chief technical director or chief something or other above him.
It would just surprise me.
He could even go as CEO, COO or something. Do you know what I mean? A chief operating officer, some stupid title that they've given.
It would surprise me if they just put their eggs in the James Key basket and then go and replace him a year later. That would just surprise me.
Yeah, but Aston Martin, I'm not. Yeah, they do their own rules and things, and I don't.
I'm talking about Sauber here.
Oh, Audi. The Sauber, sorry.
Yeah,
the Audi.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when you're tempted, would you not? Do you know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. If you've got the option there. I mean, Ferrari have got two great drivers and they had the option of Hamilton, so they took it.
Yeah.
Still not entirely sure it's the right decision, but, we'll see. It's definitely the right decision for Lewis, 100%. But whether it will pay off for
I think
Ferrari,
it's the right decision for Lewis in some ways. Now, having seen it and sat on it for a while, that Merc is just not doing what it needs to do.
Yeah.
And
no confidence
they've got no directions at all, and they've got a new upgrade supposedly coming for Miami, which is going to bring them an extra 0.5 seconds per lap or something stupid.
Okay, well, let's wait and see.
Which is an insane amount of speed that they've suddenly appeared. Has Newey already moved over to Mercedes? Do you know what I mean? How's that happened? So but they might get 0.3 seconds per lap, but which lap are they on? And which circuit? Anyway, going back to China, I really like that track. It's the first time I've seen it.
It's a good track.
And I love that first corner. That's just those or the first 3 corners or whatever it is officially.
Yeah,
that's
the right and sweep back left.
Yeah, it's really cool. And especially going down the hill there, that's a really cool section. Was quite a good race. Really enjoyed the race actually. So a few things that I want to bring up, and I'm sorry they're not in any order. Let's do the who was in the right or wrong. Did Stroll crash into Ricardo, or did Ricardo brake and stupidly smashed into Stroll? And whose fault was it? I think we all know.
Stroll. Move on.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. There's nothing really there, is there? I can't. Well, the only thing is, it was
wrecked the back end of Ricardo's car, who then went into the back of Piastri as a result of that.
I mean, he was very close to Piastri, who was very close to Alonso. Was it?
It was because Alonso locked up.
I love that it's his teammate's fault. That's actually
Alonso locked up.
I hadn't quite clocked that.
It's basically that thing that I can now talk about because the woman admitted liability. Last year I was in a car crash and I
oh, did she actually admit liability?
Yes, she's admitted liability finally after a year of arguing Jesus. It. I was on the motorway, car in front of me. There was a queue coming off the motorway. We were all going at 70 miles an hour ish. I was definitely going bang on 70 because I was trying to do maximum fuel save to drive all the way to Scotland. I got as far as Coventry, and then the car in front of me slammed on the brakes because there was a queue. I came to a medium speed but controlled stop, comfortable stop. I stopped, waited a couple of seconds, turned to my wife and said, "Oh, sorry about that," because I braked a little bit hard, and then crashed straight at the back of me. Woman didn't even slow down, just obviously looking somewhere else and not paying attention. All the cars in front of us had all managed to stop. She didn't. She went to me. I went to the next person. Next person went into the next person. I still have neck pain as a result of it. And she was claiming it was my fault. So, yeah, she is Lance Stroll.
Yeah.
And I'm Daniel Ricciardo. Damn it, I'm Daniel Ricciardo.
Yeah, it could be worse. You could be Lance Stroll.
Oh, yeah, there is that. But she's Lance Stroll.
No, well, yeah. The person in front of you, it's Piastri. He and Ricardo was right when he said he wasn't even looking at me, and he's right. That Stroll's looking at the corner, like not even looking at where he's going.
Yeah,
and that's the thing with the cameras, you can physically see. I just think, and I'm not saying it was a deliberate accident or
no, of course it wasn't.
A penalty accident from Stroll, but don't go blaming Ricardo for it. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was obviously he wasn't looking and it was an accident. It was fine. Hold your hands up.
Yeah.
Don't start blaming Ricardo that he fucking broke. It's like, you're not, we've all got the cameras. Like at home, we can all see it. Like, cop on. Do you know what I mean?
It's fucking funny though.
Yeah, it was. And then Bottas broke down. I'm sorry, this might not be in order. Bottas breaking down.
Yeah, it's the VSC problem.
And the VSC, which was just weird. Again, why did they pull out the VSC? That was obviously going to be trapped in there. You were obviously going to have a vehicle to remove it. And why would you not have?
I think, I've not heard the official reason, but I think it's because the car was stuck in gear and they couldn't move it. Because normally they'd just be able to push it clear under VSC, but because they had to put a vehicle on track, they had to pull the full safety car.
Even that's in a lot of gravel.
But I think it was because
sorry, Sainz did prove in the qualifying you can just drive out of gravel and carry on, even though they've thrown a red flag. Which, sorry, can we go back on that?
Yeah,
I'm going to go back. Why the fuck can you crash out or spin out, land in a thing, they throw a red flag, and you are not on the track and you're not in the pits? He could have been in fucking Mongolia, and he still would have been allowed to then come back onto the track and allow him to then carry on qualifying. How does that make sense?
Well, who was it? I think, was it Aston Martin protested the result of qualifying? I think it was Aston Martin. They normally protest everything. Just saying that red flag was called, he shouldn't have been allowed to continue. But the rules say that if you can't get going under your own power, if you can't return to the pits under your own power, then you're not allowed to continue with the session. So if they had to drag him out of
he could have been
track,
sat there for 3 hours and then he'd be able to drive.
Well, no,
where is
they-
the rules there? Because you stopped the qualifying at that point. Red flag means stop. Yes. That's not under yellow flag of, okay, guys, let's all keep on going. That was red flag stop.
Yeah, it was.
How
Yeah, it was.
can
It was red flag because it's a car in a dangerous
But on
position.
a race, hang on a race, can he still do that? I don't think he can. Can he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
just
we've
don't get it.
we've had similar incidents before. Not so much with a red flag in a race, because what happens in qualifying and practice, if there's anything that happens on the track where there's debris or anything like that, it's instantly a red flag because they have to clear it up. Whereas in a race scenario, that would be a safety car, and they would then clear it up under the safety car. But because in qualifying, you don't. What's the point in having cars running around behind the safety car? They'll all just come in the pits anyway. So it's just an instant red flag. Get everyone to reset.
With me. Jards with me.
Well, you're both entitled. You're both entitled to be wrong. That's fine. You're allowed to be wrong. And because he had no outside interference, all he did was damage his front wing and bash his rear tire. There was no suspension damage. He just spun it. If someone spins on the track and then carries on, it's no problem. It's not his fault the red flag was flown because there was a little bit of debris on the track. He was still able to get back to the pits under his own steam. If the marshals had come on and pushed him out of a gravel trap, then yeah, he absolutely can't carry on. And we've had that argument before where people have had outside assistance to get going again, and then they've tried to continue and they've been told they're not allowed to. So it's the same thing with George Russell in Silverstone.
Yeah,
remember George Russell in Silverstone when he left his car, claiming he was running over to check Joe was okay, but clearly he looked at the back of his car and was like, "Oh, I'm out. Okay, I'll go for a walk then."
And I'll go and stand on some tires and try and boss around all the professional.
Yeah.
Marshall,
yeah, exactly.
Because
but then because the car went back to the pits on the back of the flatbed and not by its own power, he wasn't allowed to continue, even though the car wasn't damaged, just the tire had come off the rim. That was all. Yeah. So under that scenario, he was fine. He was absolutely fine. He'd stopped. I don't know if he did this on purpose, but because he'd stopped on track, he may have been sitting there waiting for the red flag, so he could then drive back to the pits and have another go. And if that is the case, then I think it does need looking at.
That is, that's very with Jared. Science if that happens.
I'm with Jared in the chat, given that he said that I think the red flag rules need updating. I agree, but as the rules are written, he did nothing wrong, and he was allowed to.
And I can see that if you have a spin out and someone throws a red flag too soon because it's not, and we're ones for very much criticizing any VSC red flag, yellow flag type stuff, like. It could have gone two ways. You could have flown that red flag. If you went with my idea of red flag means stop and you can't go any further. And if you're not on the track, you're not, or in the pits, you're not officially in qualifying. How fast does a red flag come out? Would they have the opposite problem where the red flag comes out, that doesn't come out for like a minute or so? How does that work? And actually, sometimes you need to have the red flag quicker because of debris or something that no one else has noticed.
You look at Australia, absolutely that should have been a red flag where Russell crashed.
Yeah.
That absolutely should have been a red flag because they were just bloody lucky. I think if that had been any other lap in the race, that would have been an instant red flag. It's just because it was the final lap. They didn't want the race to finish under red flag. They wanted everyone to drive past the finish line and for the fans
because they didn't want another Michael Massey moment.
Yeah, I mean it's not exactly the same thing, but they didn't want the fans to miss out on the drivers passing the finish line at speed because but as a result they put George Russell's life at risk generally. Which is not right, and that kind of thing is sorting out.
So
this is the other extreme. We have had it before. The other extreme
of competitiveness, isn't it, as opposed to safety?
Yeah, I think we had it in a race before where not a qualifying before. I think it was maybe Alex Albon spun into the gravel. They flew the red flag, and then he just drove out the gravel. So why have we got a red flag? So it has happened before. There is previous.
Yeah. Wasn't that why we got red flag? Because of you, mate. That was like the comment.
Yeah,
That
something
was the
like that. Yeah,
radio.
I seem to remember that. Yeah, and so there is previous, there is precedent, and the precedent is you are able to continue. But yes, I agree. It probably should be looked at in the
I don't have an answer, which again is really annoying me because I feel like I want to have an answer for this.
Yeah. Again, Jared, with the Bottas decision being slow and the science one quick, I think the science one, he was stuck on the track. That has to be
and it
a red
was
flag.
Qualifying as well.
Yeah,
and it was
and with the race, it was they thought it was just a case of pushing it out the way when it was stuck in gear. So I get it, I understand it. But I think I said as soon as Bottas stopped, I said, "Oh, that'll be a safety car." But then 6 laps later, it was a safety car. You know,
I just felt that was going to be, even if it wasn't stuck in gear. I felt that they don't have the speed to get out of the gravel. Pushing it, and that's the whole point of the gravel, is to slow things down. And if the car is not being slowed down or doing it, that gravel is pointless then, you know.
They should have some kind of mechanical tether system where like they have a cable on a winch, on a mechanical winch.
You want to put a winch on the front?
No, not on the car. Like in the barriers or somewhere off the track, and they have this really long cable attached to a winch. And then when a car stops in the gravel, that winch can reach anywhere in the gravel trap. They just hook it onto the car and just winch them out of the way.
Yeah, well, that makes more sense. Or putting a winch system on a vehicle.
And then you don't have to worry about vehicles on track.
Yeah,
and that surely, I know that's quite expensive, but surely that would be cheaper than buying a JCB or.
No one's buying JCBs; they're hiring them.
Well, yeah,
all they're doing is moving the attachment on the front, which is specially designed. Because this was, did you see the one?
I hate you working in logistics. You spoil everything.
Who was the? I can't remember who crashed. Who crashed out that had to be winched out?
When?
Was it Ricardo or Tsunoda? Who stopped on track and had to be winched out?
Oh, I didn't see that. Oh, that's crane.
Someone, huh?
What,
someone had to be. Yeah, someone had to be craned out. Sorry, I can't remember who it was.
I can't remember.
But the vehicle that was craned out was like a tractor I have in Kerry. Like it was like a proper old school, like open top tractor. Not one of these JCBs. It was like this little red tractor. I was like, seriously?
Well, Shanghai International Circuit doesn't get a lot of action. So it's just been resurfaced. It's not been used for 5 years. So they probably
actually the resurfacing did quite well. Is it I presume in China it's pretty much for drifting and things, I guess, as a track. I don't know what that track's.
It's normally used for circuit racing.
Okay. I don't know what circuit racing,
but it's not really been used that much in the last 5 years because China, obviously, their COVID restrictions were much stricter than anyone else's, and they left it much longer before they started opening up. So it's that track has not been used much at all. So the resurfacing, I love it when they resurface the tracks because then people just lose all their data and then they have to figure it all out again. It means that, especially when you got a sprint there as well, it just meant that things were so unpredictable for those first few days.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the sprint. What happened in the sprint?
Someone won it. Verstappen won it, didn't he? Come on. That was it McLaren? There was a whole thing with Hamilton and Norris. Norris having his lap time deleted and reinstated in qualifying.
Oh yeah. Okay. Sorry, we should talk about that.
Yeah, let's do that.
Right. Sorry, I've totally forgot we had a sprint. Wow. I watched that. Where did I watch that? I watched that in Heathrow Airport. What happened? Oh yeah. So in qualifying, sprint qualifying, raining. That it made everything slippery, and Norris is very good in the rain. He did a lap, but his previous lap, so he did a lap that then got deleted.
Yeah.
But what was then questioned, not by anyone, by the stewards themselves, from my understanding, because no one from McLaren supposedly went and questioned it, and it was too fast to be recapped back anyway. For someone to question it officially, they said that actually he didn't go out on that lap. He went out on the lap beforehand, which normally would have been due to qualifying, would have made that void. But because he actually lost time, you could see that he lost time. I don't know how they quickly found that data out that quickly, but anyway, he was able. Yeah. So that sector time was lower than any previous sector time of that section. And thus he didn't gain an advantage. So thus the lap was, he was actually slower crossing the line than he was.
Yeah. So it's a system that they've always run in China, because up until this new, obviously the resurfacing, that last corner going into the final straight was just lots of concrete runoff. So what people would do is they would carry far too much speed into the final corner, go off the runoff, then arc back onto the track and have a much better exit and start the lap at a much higher speed than they would have done if they'd taken the corner properly. Now that there's gravel there, you lose time if you go out wide. So Norris went off track in the last corner, making him lose a bucket load of time. It was still enough for, I can't remember if that was the pole lap or not. I don't think it was, but it was still a decent lap time. That lap time then got deleted because you went off track in the final corner. That's fine. And then because normally that would help you into the following lap, they then delete the next lap as well. But he was the only person they did that to. I think they would have been within their rights to keep that decision had they not let other people get away with it earlier in the session. And it's the consistency part of it. And I think common sense prevailed in the end. It was it was the right decision.
Verstappen won, but
yeah, Verstappen needed to be about 3 or 4 spaces
and
back.
he fecked up his start again.
He did.
Norris is shit at start. Like, he needs to learn how to start a race, because he is getting into poles and he is getting constantly fecked in the starts.
I disagree.
No, you go back. 50% of his races he fecks the start.
50% of his races 50%. He fecks the start.
I swear on my life, 50% of his races.
Cool. So what sample set are we going with here? Because I'm going to go back and watch these races.
Go on. This year.
Okay, this year. So this is race 5. So you're saying at least 2.5 races. We've had a sprint. So that's basically 6. So you're saying 3 starts this year he's fucked up.
Okay, yeah. Well,
okay, I'm going to go back and watch it, and then we'll report back on that next week.
Okay, I reckon he's fecked up the starts at least 50% of his starts. He did have one good start. I'll give him that. The other ones have been okay, and you've had one good start, 2 okay.
He is getting a bit of a reputation for being a bottler, and I will say that he does, because he is
a bottler. In what sense he bottles his start?
Yeah, not so much as his starts. Like, he's got the reputation, given that he should have won the race in Russia that time, and he blew it. But I still maintain he didn't blow that. McLaren did, because they gave him false information. If they'd have told him there's another range front coming in, he would have pitted for Inters and probably. I mean, he might have won.
I mean, sorry, I'll go back to some other comment in a minute about Norris, but carry on.
Yeah. So I blame McLaren for that one, not Norris. Yeah. He's had probably 4 occasions that I can recall, maybe even more, where he's been looking like getting pole and he's gone off track or made a mistake or had his lap time deleted to miss out on pole or miss out on a very competitive lap time. We saw him crashing in Spa in 2020 when he looked like he was going to take pole. He was looking really, really strong that day. So he has got a bit of a reputation on that side. I do think that is down to he is so on the edge, pushing that car to the absolute limit that he just hasn't quite found the limit yet. And he does go over the limit too often. I don't think it's him bottling. I think it's him just trying too hard. I mean, I guess it's kind of the same thing, really. But that is something that he just needs to just remove from his game. But he is so fast in all other areas. I think it's still worth it. It's still what you gain from him. You just every 5 or 6 races you might get one mistake, as opposed to twice a season or something like that. So it's a difficult one. But yeah, he is getting a bit of a reputation for being a bottler, so I can understand that, and I'm pretty sure he will disprove it. I had the one Mr. Tom Downey in my house less than 2 hours ago, and we were chatting about this, and he said
we missed him. We should have gone earlier.
He said Norris will not win a race. So I'm tempted to do
so this is the new Checo, is it?
I'm tempted to do the sombrero bet with Tom Downey.
But what's Norris? What's Norris's sombrero? I'm gonna have to think about it. What's the Norris version of sombrero, Tom Downey? The gauntlet needs to be thrown.
Well, it'll probably be something involving Instagram or Twitch, wouldn't it?
Yeah, or gaming. It's some sort
Didn't
of.
He shaved his head once. He shaved his head once live on Twitch. I reckon Tom should say if Lando Norris wins a race, he has to shave his head. Right,
Oh,
grid talkers. You need to pick up on that one.
yeah.
If Lando Norris wins a race this year, let's say this year. If Lando Norris wins a race
I'm
this year,
actually
Tom
gonna,
Downey has to shave his head.
I'm gonna put in the group in the group. Tom, yeah, right. Hang on. There we go.
Yeah, Jared, he
Wow.
said ever, but I feel like we should just say this year because my
Wow.
bet about Perez was
I
he will
think
never win another race.
I'm not going to be harsh. I think I think Downey's got this. That's the wrong phone. Having two phones at the moment, it's the most confusing thing.
Or a drug dealer.
Yeah, I feel like one. I can't even get the right number. Right, yeah, okay. Fine. Like, let us see what actually happens.
Yeah.
I'm with Downey. I'm with Downey, I think. I don't want to be with Downey, but I'm with Downey on that. So we shall see. The
Next time I'm on the
is,
podcast with him, if he mentions it, I might challenge him to it. Maybe I shave my head if he doesn't win a race.
Right, Tom Downey, a gaunt.
Right. I'm going to talk about something else while you text on air because that's not a very interesting thing. I find it hilarious that out of the 20 races in the Chinese Grand Prix, you've got Bottas did not finish, you've got Tsunoda did not finish, you've got Ricciardo did not finish, you've got Sargent had issues and a penalty, you've got Magnussen had to change his front wing and had a penalty as well, I think, and then you've got Stroll who went up the back of Ricciardo. And then you've got Zhou had to change his front wing as well. So you've only got 13 people that didn't have a problem, a major issue in their race. And yet you've then got two Alpines finishing the race with no problems, and they still didn't get points. You've got Gasly in 13th, 69 seconds off the lead in how many laps after the safety car? I can't remember, not an awful lot. And then
but
Albon and then Ocon in 11th when that Williams was
right. So Gasly had I don't know what happened.
Oh, yeah, Gasly did have an issue.
Absolute mess.
Gasly did have an issue. Yes, you are right.
Mess.
But Ocon,
and what happened? I can't quite work out what happened because what it looks like is the tire was never on. You can see that the tire was never on at that point. I don't think it had even been replaced at that point. It was being taken off. It wasn't going on. But the man at the front, the jack man at the front, really dropped and released the car. And also, isn't there an internal light that says go?
There is a traffic light system.
So what went wrong? The traffic light system went wrong?
I'm guessing so. I've not seen it in all fairness.
I presume
pretty shambolic.
I presume that there is a sensor on the tires that says all four tires are on. And yes, I think what happened...
There's a sensor on the wheel gun, I think, because it's a captive
wheel. So if you
unreleased
it and you couldn't come off, the nut didn't come off and you pushed it back on, would that say that the tire's back on? Do you know what I mean? Especially if you had a second between trying to release it and push it back on, or whatever the time frame is. Is that what happened? Because that was an old tire, because they still had to swap the tire around. And I think they probably thought... The sensors probably thought the tire.
Yeah, the gun's got a on and off thing. So it
presumed that it had gone on because the other three were on. So it presumed that. So the jackman probably wasn't looking, was looking at the traffic light system, and so was Gasly to pulled it away. But actually, the wheel was off at that point, and so it was a sensor. I think it was probably a sensor issue.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. So Jared said that it would be an interesting look if I shave my head. So I'm just trying to find a picture of me when I shave my head, and I'm going to put it on.
I've shaved my head before.
Yes, you have many a time. Right, I found a picture of me with a completely shaved head.
I'm only in top chat. I'm not in live chat, so I've got no idea what Jared's been saying. Jesus, sorry, man. I've no idea. Wow, there's a load of stuff here I hadn't seen.
Right, okay. I found a picture of me, completely shaved head. So I'm going to stick that into the software. I'm going to put it on the screen. So you can see it. There we are.
Oh God, it's bad.
That's me when I look like a child.
That's before I met you.
Yeah, that is.
So that's 15 years old.
That is, when is that? That's probably more than 15 years old.
So I met you when I was 21. So that's 15 years that I've known you.
Yeah, that's a long time ago. Right, I'm going to remove that from this I can't find it now. Where is it? There.
It's saying
is.
that. It's just going to stay.
There we go. Got rid of it. Oh,
Yeah.
Ruby's in the chat. Hi, Ruby.
Jesus.
You just missed us shaming Tom Downey. Mr. Downey was just
The gauntlet has just been thrown.
Yeah.
Tom Downey is supposedly saying that
Lando Norris will never win a race.
Lando Norris will not win a race. Tom is now taking on that gauntlet.
So given that Lando Norris once shaved his head on Twitch, I say to Tom Downey, if he accepts the bet, if Lando Norris doesn't win a race this year, then I have to shave my head. If he does, he has to shave his head. If he accepts the bet, I will do it. That's the gauntlet. This is the monkey seat bet.
Downey, take it. Take it. It's surefire. I'm with you.
Take it, Tom. Take it, Tom. That's a good little girl.
I'm with you, Downey. Horrocks is out of this. Downey, I'm with you. Yeah, it's going to happen. You know,
okay, cool.
Tom's going to have a shaved head by Christmas. Tom's going to have a very cold winter.
My son is not going to know who I am if I shave my head.
No. I think, but you're keeping the beard. You're going full, what's his chops?
Obadiah Stane.
Obadiah Stane. Yeah, you're going full Obadiah. I don't mean shaved. I want to see a razor to that head. I'm not gonna make you go skinhead if that happens. Right. Anyway, the gauntlet has been thrown.
Okay, I will. If Tom Downey agrees to those terms, then I will do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That would be hilarious to see Tom
take it, because there is no way you're losing this. That Downey, there's no way you're losing this. Anyway. There you go.
But I would have to caveat. I would want to include sprints in that, because that is a race.
Oh, okay.
Because he said the same thing to me last year with the Perez bet. He said if he wins a sprint, that counts because that's a race.
Oh, okay.
So I would want sprints included in that.
Yeah.
Cool. Right. I think we've talked about everything that we were going to talk about.
Sorry. Ruby just went, Adrian knew he was able to build this in a cave.
Oh, great Iron Man reference. Love it. Love it.
I love how this sometimes turns into a bit of a Grid Talk naughty podcast. But yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, Jesus. Sorry if you don't know any of these people. I do apologize.
Yeah.
You should know these people. You should go and listen to Grid Talk. Yeah. You should know who all these people are.
Okay, right. Yeah. Let's do some awards then.
Driver of the day.
Silence.
Trying to think.
Lewis Hamilton. No.
Is it? What's his chops? Lando came to third, was in fourth.
But for the race, yes. But if you're including the sprint, then probably not, because you made the error. If we're going for the weekend...
dude, I've got no chance. Who else? Well, yeah, you could go with Hamilton for doing so well in the sprint, but didn't do well in the race.
No, because he didn't do well in the race. It's someone who does both. I mean, it's probably Verstappen, to be honest, isn't it?
Oh, because he came from fourth.
Coming from fourth in the sprint and then winning the race. Yeah, it's not Perez, is it?
I don't know. I'm out. I don't know who did well.
Right, let's get the results up here. I think it is Lando. I mean, Leclerc did all right.
Yeah, but should have done better.
Yeah. Alonso, actually, to be fair, good sprint, great start.
Yeah.
Held up Perez for a bit, was put on a bad strategy and made it work.
Actually, did some great driving.
Yeah. No, I
not Perez, sorry. Alonso.
I would say Alonso.
Yeah, no, I'll go with you with that.
Okay, Dick of the day, Lance Stroll. Done?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Awesome.
Lance Stroll.
Do it anyway.
Blaming.
Of the day.
I've missed a couple of
Stroll or sensors. Yes. My answers to that. But to be honest,
I mean, yes, it would have been boring about the safety car, Jared. You're right. So, but yeah. Okay. Cool. Anything else before we go? So you're not going to be in the country for the next couple of races.
No.
We're going to try and do a podcast from Imola. Well, not from Imola.
No, that'd be nice.
Imola, and Miami and Monaco.
We've got Miami next. Yeah.
So they'll, depending on time zones and stuff, we'll try and do something from there. And then it'll be back to normality for Spain.
Yeah.
Cool.
Couriers.
Right.
I shall
sign out.
Downey, you better take that thing.
Tom Downey, accept the bet. Did I really just
You're
bet to
going
shake
bold.
my head?
Yeah, you're going bold. You are. You're going bold.
Dear.
That's a worse bet than the Paris one. You're going bold.
I don't know. I'm confident.
Cold
Cheers,
head
everyone
for
in the
winter.
live chat. That's great
Cheers,
fun.